Hey guys, how are we doing? Crypto Insight UK here, bringing you back another video. And in today's video, I've literally got so much to cover. I've written notes on my phone. I don't normally do this because it normally flows pretty well, but I don't want to miss anything for you guys. So if you see me looking over here, I'm looking at my notes just to make sure basically I'm covering everything because there's so much going on in the markets right now. And I'm going to start with some of like what is actually going on and then end in some positivity because I think people are very scared at the minute. You can see that from the capitulation. You can see that from when an asset like XRP falls down from like $3 to like 170. Some people are going to have sold at like $2, taken a loss, and now be thinking like, what the hell do I do? And if you're in a position where you're sitting there on your asset right now thinking, do I sell? Like it could go low or whatever. Obviously, do whatever's best for you. But I'm just going to explain what I think is going on in the market, and I think this is a short-term period of volatility and uncertainty, and why I think that, and why I think that after that we're going to see massive pushes towards the upside for everything. I did think that was going to come sooner, but with the turbulence of Trump coming into administration and what it means for the world, and a few other things, basically we aren't there yet, and I'm just going to talk about why I think that is. So to start with, very obviously there's like tariff wars going on. I don't really need to dive too deeply into that because it's an ever-changing environment where, to start with, Trump put tariffs on both both Mexico and Canada, 25%, and then they had some political posturing between both sides, and then eventually I think they've both been removed now, and then now there's a tariff on China, 10%, and then China tariff back the US, and like we're going to see some of this short-term volatility as they start to bargain for positioning and what they want to get out of each other's countries. And look, to be honest, Trump said he was going to do tariffs when he came in, and he's doing tariffs. So like he's implementing tariffs. So whatever you think, whether it's good or bad or not, like he's doing what he said so far. And he also, in a statement, said there was going to be short-term pain for the market in order to have long-term gain. He's a very, on the back of that though, he's a very like figures-based person, and supposedly judging his success on the S&P. So that's the American economy essentially. So he wants the American economy to go up. So that's what he's trying to do essentially, is manipulate a world where that happens. So getting into what I think is going on, definitely think you should check out this article that I wrote about in the Weekly Insight on Saturday. The article I'm referring to here is Arthur Hayes' article. He basically says that the Federal Reserve aren't playing ball with Donald Trump's administration, and Trump's going to use everything in his power to get the Federal Reserve to do what he wants to do. Trump wants them to lower rates. The Federal Reserve are doing what they want to do. So by basically using the Treasury, they can starve liquidity out of the market, and meaning that the Fed are going to have to cut down rates essentially. A lot more detail than that as well. Fantastic article here from Arthur Hayes talking about how Treasury yields will rise, causing a mini financial crisis. They hate Trump at the Treasury, but they need to safeguard the US economy, and how that could play out. Definitely consider reading that, guys, and my article that I wrote on Saturday. So let's go to those two tabs. And then since then, this was just this morning, Arthur Hayes tweeted some notes from Felix Zulav. US fiscal deficit is declining, so liquidity is basically coming down, and he talks about the Treasury general account increasing. So that's not, they're doing the opposite of adding liquidity, they're draining liquidity from the system as the Treasury general account increases, even though the debt limit was reached. So there's less dollars going into the market. These could all be why the crypto market is moving so much in either direction, because lack of liquidity times by emotion equals volatility. US banks reducing loans to foreigners is also net liquidity negative. So we also saw this from Nick, who is the co-founder of Coin Bureau. Interesting to see Treasury general account has increased since hitting the debt ceiling. There was a hope TGA would be drained and inject liquidity into the market. Could explain why Bitcoin is struggling to break out above all-time highs. So they are three very important points, but they have a reverse side of them, which is not negative, is actually positive, which we'll get onto in a minute. So another thing that people have really overlooked, no one's really even mentioned it, is that it was Chinese New Year last week. And these are just dodgy times, like for markets. The whole of China basically shuts down for a month. That's both economically or production, but also financially based. Essentially, everyone just travels back to wherever they're from, and things just shut down. It's a strange time in the markets often. So that's not uncommon for it to be a weird period in terms of trading. And then we've started to see some different statistics come out of the US. So JOLTS, which is job openings essentially in the US, have fallen below forecast. So previously were 8.156 million. They were presumed to come out at 8 million and they came down at 7.6 million. Quite a drastic decrease in job openings, the lowest in September 24. And in construction, they fell to the same level as COVID levels or April 2020. So definitely be watching their job market. However, this actually potentially had a positive effect on or setting up for that reversal that I was talking about that isn't. So they're the short-term like catalysts, or like bearish catalysts, not necessarily bearish, but things that make the market be concerned. There's no liquidity. The emotions are running high. Everyone's panicking left, right, and center because markets are fluctuating massively because with little liquidity, it's easier to manipulate market prices, etc. But with this JOLTS report, I think the DXY has dropped because it's sensing weakness in the US economy. And with weakness in the US economy, a lot of these things have to reverse. So these are all setting up for a reversal in US policy of injections of liquidity. So right now, everything's being drained out of the market. So money's being taken out of the market right now. You can see that from the Treasury, as I said, the Treasury General Account. You can see that by the Fed not wanting to decrease interest rates. But the JOLTS thing could be another string that could force the Fed to increase rates or decrease rates. And if you decrease rates, you're essentially making borrowing money easier and inadvertently pushing liquidity into the market. And they also are starting to stack up all the Treasury General Account. So there's a bigger picture at play here, which is why I said don't panic and listen towards the end, because it's where I'm going to explain things to you. It's like what I think is happening is Trump is trying to get everything in order for how he wants to play it, and then he's going to inject serious capital into the market, and we should see an economic boom within the US, or at least an asset boom, because I think the DXY will devalue if they obviously lower rates and inject liquidity. It will devalue. Arthur Hayes actually talked about potentially using gold and revaluing gold against the dollar, which could send gold skyrocketing in price. I talked about that a few weeks ago. I'm not exactly sure if they will do that or not, but it's definitely something interesting to consider. Trump's also been talking about the potential of a strategic reserve in digital assets, but then also a sovereign wealth fund. So these are two things that we haven't seen from the US ever. And probably gold would be an asset in that balance sheet. So it would make sense for assets to drive, if they then hold assets and then drive those assets up in value and use them to counteract the dollar potentially weakening. These are all things to consider. And I think crypto is also in that bucket. We saw yesterday, this is what I was wanted to finish on basically, is do not lose sight of the bigger picture. Sorry, I'm in my sister's flat and it's blooming freezing. So I got a runny nose. Not lose sight of the bigger picture. Do not lose sight of this bigger picture through this low liquidity. Essentially, what I think is a shakeout, like a manipulated shakeout to shake the market out, a manipulated shakeout to shake out those who are not on Trump's side before he starts to make the policy changes that he wants to make. The US are coming through bullish on crypto, and it has knock-on effects. Bybit registers in India with their financial regulator, settling monetary fines, and expects full operation license in the coming weeks. So India are probably about to open up their borders to crypto, or open up their doors to crypto, it looks like. We had yesterday, David Sachs came out and did a talk about the concept of a Bitcoin reserve and that a sovereign wealth fund is different. He talked about the Internet of Value, and obviously if you're an XRP Ripple holder, you know that what Ripple say all the time is about the Internet of Value. We've seen this tweet. It wasn't even a tweet. It was on a different social media platform that I'm not even too familiar with. But Jack, who I think it's Jack Dorsey, that's the name that comes into my head because I'm having a mental block right now, who's the founder of Twitter, he tweeted this video of basically Michael Saylor, who, as we know, is a Bitcoin maximalist, floating into XRP, potentially becoming an XRP maximalist or running Bitcoin on the XRP ledger is some of the speculation. Hester Peirce is going to be heading the SEC's crypto task force, and she's known as the crypto mum. So Litecoin is even getting an ETF, and Tether printing more Tether. So don't overlook what is happening in the larger term or the longer time frame. Hold tight, in my opinion, to these assets. If you've got capital, if you think what I'm saying is true, and I think we're teeing up for a massive injection of liquidity and probably asset prices to explode, but it could take a month or 2 months. It could take a week. Like, we don't know when this is going to start to turn around, but nothing to me looks like bad news. I think there's lack of liquidity. I think there's people panicking. I think all these people have probably bought up here, which a lot of new people have come into the market, start to see a flush, panic, sell, and now they're like, shit, now what do I do? It's standard price action. When you see new people enter the market, like, people get wrecked. Everyone gets wrecked at some point. You have to learn your lesson. If you're in the market, you've been here for a long time, you know that. XRP looks great. Bitcoin looks pretty good. I do think there's a world where Bitcoin comes down to 88k. I've talked about that because of the liquidity there. Whether it does or doesn't, I don't know. There's been lots of bullish tweets, even about ETH recently, from Eric Trump. Is ETH's flush out enough down to 2,000? One thing I do want to say is, like, when we do have wicks down to like these sort of levels, oftentimes we can trade down into those wicks again. Whether we do or we don't, I don't know. I think this is like a more of a flush of leverage, flush of emotion, flush of everything before a much larger move to the upside probably ensues. And I think we see Bitcoins over 180, if not $200,000 by the end of this year. That's my prediction. That's where I think Bitcoin's going, and I think that means XRP goes easily over $8, probably towards 12 to 15 is my guess. Just don't get shaken out. Like, there's so much going on. When it's times like this, if you're worried about price action, I know a lot of people are panicking online. Just turn your PC off for a bit, and if you see red days, just add to it if you want to add. But remember to also take profits when price pumps, and if it's affecting you, you can take some profits. But personally, my opinion is things are going to go a lot higher, and they probably go pretty quickly once the turmoil and all this posturing has settled itself down and Trump has got where he wants to be. Besson is the Treasury Secretary. He's pro-crypto. I've forgotten what his name is. Oh, what is his name? But there was another guy who's working with Besson. They're both pro-crypto. They're both talking about how the Treasury will basically potentially help with monetary policy while they hold Bitcoin. They literally hold Bitcoin. The Treasury Secretary holds Bitcoin. Like, we've never been in a position like this before. Crypto's got legitimacy worldwide right now. India's changing its rules towards crypto. Things will change, and they will change very quickly to the upside when we get over this turbulence. I really, really, really believe that. If liquidity upticks, we have a few bits of positive news, we will be back in full-blown bull season. That is my personal opinion. People calling for the top, fair enough. I don't think it makes any sense. Personally, I think anything looks really that toppy at all. So it doesn't mean we can't pull back in the short term. As I said, 1 month, 2 months, maybe 3 of madness and weirdness and markets working themselves out and working each other out. But after that, I think we see significant upside potential for crypto. So I hope I kind of got across everything that's going on right now. Like, I feel like there's so much going on, it's hard to get the points over as to what I'm trying to explain. But if you enjoyed the video, please do let me know in the comments. Give me a thumbs up, and yeah, share it with a friend. Subscribe if you don't already. If you want to trade on leverage, I am partnered with MEXC. There's a link for that in the description below. I do believe XRP memes will make a big comeback. They've not been doing very well recently when XRP starts to move back to the upside. Remember, guys, XRP's right now sitting at 255. At our highest monthly close at $3 for XRP this month, and people are bearish. You can't make it up. You literally can't make it up. Anyway, I'll leave you there. Hope you enjoyed. Peace up. A-Town down, as Crypto Insight UK would say.